Hi, my name is Mary Bedell. In this video, I'll be sharing the course that I designed for our capstone project. It's called Teaching with Museum Collections. Teaching with Museum Collections is aimed at a college faculty or instructor audience. It's aimed at people who have experience with teaching at the college level, but they don't have experience incorporating the many wonderful resources that museums provide specifically for instructors. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the outline of the course and pointing out a couple of factors which I feel make it successful. As somebody who has been an instructional designer and who's worked with museums, I'd really like to bridge the two. Firstly, I'd like to say that I designed this course in EdApp. I chose EdApp specifically because it is a multimodal LMS. It's really great on mobile, it's great on tablets, and it's functional, I think, on laptops as well. And that really attracted me. I really was attracted to the idea that the instructors would be able to take this with them. It's definitely a course that I designed based on the principle of self-directed andragogy. It's a course which is designed for people who are intrinsically motivated, and EdApp really suits that quite well, I believe. The course is divided into 3 separate modules, which I feel build on each other quite nicely. In addition to the course introduction, there's then Module 1, which is an introduction to museums. Module 2, which is about utilizing online museum resources, so using things like objects in museums or pre-made lesson plans or different academic resources that are provided by museums and incorporating them into a lesson plan. And then Module 3 is about planning museum visits, so actually how to plan to take your class into a museum. Then we end with a course conclusion. The course introduction includes an overview of the course. I have already opened this up, but if we open it up again, then we'll begin, and you can see on the left-hand side a schedule of all of the different micro lessons contained within this lesson. They call them slides in EdApp. So again, I have that course introductory text, which I've already overgone. And then we go into a video, which I won't play, but which is embedded in the LMS, which gives an overview of the course and some tips for students as they are trying to navigate it. From there, we go into the course learning outcomes. There are 6 course learning outcomes, and 2 of each, I believe, are achieved in each of the different modules. So the first 2, determining the application of museum visits in your subject area and identifying the resources provided by museums for educators, are under the first module, which is about understanding museums. From here, and so on. From here, you can progress into the syllabus. The syllabus has information about everything that students will need to do to access the course, all of the principles, and there's also a link for accessing it as a PDF. The course schedule is second, which includes an outline of all of the assignments as well as what they will be learning. And then I have a pre-course survey, which is my attempt to get some information about students from the jump about why they are motivated to take this course before they begin. There's also an end of course survey so that I can balance people's initial expectations with what they feel they actually learned. From there, I also want to point out that there is a rubrics section, and all of the rubrics are provided at the front of the course in addition to being with the lessons. As you can see, EdApp saves progress over time, which is great for students and learners, particularly who want to kind of jump into and jump out of the learning process. So somebody who is very busy and might want to learn on the go can have their progress saved. Let me introduce you to a typical module. Module 1 is the introduction to museums, and again, we open up a different lesson. So the introduction to museums is laid out similarly to every other module. So I will in-depth show you this module and then just show you a little bit about the others. For example, we have the introduction to museums title slide, then the module 1 schedule, which provides the units, so everything they will be learning, as well as the assignments that they will do to demonstrate mastery of the concept, so quizzes, discussions, and assignments. The objectives for the module, and then I have a specific page which demonstrates the alignment of the module with the overall course learning outcomes. So for example, I mentioned that the first two are about identifying the purposes and functions of museums and determining the application of museum visits in their subject area. So I call those out specifically here. Then students are able to move on to the actual content area. The actual content area for Module 1 is, oh, there's a little notification from EdApp that we are doing a good job. I like that EdApp has a lot of motivation for learners. It's very encouraging to them. So Module 1, Unit A is the purpose and function of museums. And here you can see some of the different things that I'm trying to incorporate into these lessons. So for example, you have things like definitions of museums, and I like to include these interactive components here. So if you drag to reveal the content, you'll understand the difference between a museum and a library. The differences between museums and libraries has to do with what we consider primary evidence. A museum houses primary evidence, including objects of significance of the past. A library houses research about those primary objects in the form of books. So you have some interactive components which are designed really to help the learners maintain that information and feel like they're actually active in the learning process. I also have embedded videos. Some of these videos come from external sources like TED-Ed, for example, and they're embedded so that they can come back and access them later and to give credit to where the videos are from. And also because these videos that I've chosen, all of them on YouTube, have closed captioning. We can also skip that video if necessary. Some of the other videos are by myself, and I will show you what those look like. Other things included here include information about the origin of museums, cabinets of curiosities. I try to have pictures and links and things to make the content more interactive, and just some concept of what people would like to know. This is another example of an interactive media component that I generated. This was part of what I developed for my module 3 or my 300 level class that we did about multimedia. So this is about the purpose of museums, and learners can learn about the different functions of museums by clicking through, which I find to be quite helpful. Let's exit that lesson and show another instance in which I embedded my own video that I made. I will show you that it is in museum ethics. This module is really all about explaining to instructors some of the ethical concerns that they might be interested in museums. And one of the ethical concerns that I discuss quite a lot is what is provenance. This is again a video that I generated for the 300 level class using Powtoon. All of these videos are also have closed captioning because they are on YouTube, and I uploaded the transcripts to them, but you can see here that I have both of those. What I like about EdUp as well is that it tracks learner progress, and they can kind of jump in and out of different materials, but the entire lesson or the entire class will not be marked as complete until they actually access all of the materials and do their submissions. Let's look at some discussions. For example, we have the discussion on museum ethics because that follows that unit. Here you can see the prompt for the discussion and the instructions for adding a post. This discussion, for example, will only be marked as complete when they have submitted one post and a comment on somebody else's post. This lesson plan is all designed to get instructors talking to one another because I view peer-to-peer collaboration on these really interesting questions of pedagogy to be very, very important. So for example, this one discusses what an ethical is that they might like to discuss in their classrooms or how they'll plan to address that, and then they can seek feedback from their peers. Overall, the point of the class discussions is really to give them a chance to interact and to get some perspectives from instructors who are in very different subject areas than them, because this course is aimed at instructors from all different disciplines. There are other assignments which are aimed at more individual development of their course. So for example, Module 2, Unit A's assignment is about locating resources. So I asked them to provide a link to a museum website that demonstrates some interesting source for them. So that can be a video or a pre-made lesson plan or something, and then reflect on it in a reflection of 300 to 400 words. including how they would like to use it. So I tried to differentiate between the discussions, which are peer collaborative, and the assignments, which are more individual project focused. The final project of the course is to create a lesson plan for visiting a museum, and this is a significantly larger undertaking than others, for example. And it's really about making sure that the final thing in the course that they take away from it is an actual project that they can use. At the end of the course, there's the course conclusion survey, where again, I'm trying to find more data essentially to help me improve this course in the future. I'm very passionate about helping educators to improve their teaching, and I hope that does come across. Thank you very much for watching this presentation.